Hey there. So today I want to talk to you about something that could seriously change your financial future, delaying the start of your Social Security benefits. Now, I know it might not sound exciting at first, but trust me, it might be the most powerful financial decision that you can make. Even if you've already started your benefits, it's not necessarily too late to earn delayed retirement credits to increase your future payments. Now, I get it. Sometimes starting your benefits early actually makes sense. And I've made other videos all about those situations if you're curious. But for most people, waiting a bit longer before you claim could make a huge difference. Even if you've already started benefits early, once you reach your full retirement age, you have the option to suspend benefits up to age 70 if you want, to significantly increase your lifetime benefits. Now, stick with me because I'm going to break down the numbers in a way that actually makes sense. By the end, you might see Social Security and your own retirement plans in a whole new light. Welcome back to the Financial Fast Lane. If you're new here, this is where we break down complicated financial planning topics and make them easy to understand so that you can make confident, real-life decisions. Today, we're diving into Social Security. More specifically, we're talking about when you should claim your benefits and why the timing of that decision is way more important than most people think. So let's talk about what's really going on here, okay? Even though more and more research shows that most retirees would actually do better by waiting to start their Social Security benefits, most people still end up claiming it as soon as they can, usually at age 62. So why is that? There are a few big reasons. First is fear. It's totally normal to worry. What if I don't live long enough to break even? What if the government changes the rules? What if I don't get paid back all the money that I paid in? Second, there's just this human, need or human urge to take what feels like it's already yours. You've paid into the system for decades. Why not start getting it back as soon as possible, right? And third, and this is a huge one, most people don't really know how the math works when it comes to delaying. Here's what almost everyone misses. Delaying Social Security isn't just about making up for checks that you skip. It's about something called asymmetric payoff. Your potential downside is actually pretty limited, but the upside can be exponentially large. And here's the kicker. The upside gets even bigger in the exact situations most retirees are most worried about. So let me break this down in some simple numbers so it will make sense. To keep the math super simple, let's imagine that you're 66 years old. That's the full retirement age for a lot of folks. And your primary insurance amount, or the PIA, is just $1,000 per month. You can start collecting that money right now. But let's say you decide to wait just 1 year. For every year you hold off after your full retirement age, Social Security bumps up your benefit by 8%. So if you wait those 12 months, your monthly check goes from $1,000 per month to $1,080 per month. So what's the catch? Basically, you missed out on 12 months of $1,000 payments. That's $12,000 that you didn't collect in this example. But in return, you're locking in that extra $80 every single month for the rest of your life. Now, the first question on everyone's mind is always, how long does it take to break even? If we do some quick math and take that $12,000 that you gave up and divide it by the extra $80 that you'll receive each month, you end up with 150 months. That's about 12 and a half years. So if you live about 12 to 13 years after you've turned 67, you actually come out ahead. That brings you right around age 79 or age 80. But here's where things get interesting, and where the typical break-even talk doesn't tell the whole story. That extra $80 a month doesn't just stay the same. Social Security benefits get adjusted every year for inflation, thanks to the cost of living adjustment, right, or the COLA. So your $80 bonus actually grows year after year. That means you start making back your original $12,000 faster than the simple math suggests. And when you add in things like a 3% annual COLA, plus the fact that your monthly payments could have been invested, let's say for an average of 8% return, the real break-even point is closer to 20 years. It's a bit longer because you've skipped payments that could have been making money, right? If they were invested, that is. So yes, it can take about 20 years to fully come out ahead. But here's the part that most people never hear and where things really get interesting. What happens after you hit that break-even point? Once you cross that 20-year mark, the benefits don't just trickle in, they actually start to snowball in your favor. Picture it like this. It took you 20 years just to make back the original $12,000 you gave up. But after that, it only takes another 6 years to be up an extra $12,000. Then, just 4 more years, add another $12,000 on top of that. And after that, only 2 more years to rack up yet another $12,000. That's the magic of compounding. The longer you live past break even, the faster those gains really pile up. So here's the punchline. If you die 20 years before the break even, in this example, you're out $12,000. But if you live just 14 years beyond break even, you end up ahead by nearly $48,000. That's almost 4 times what you put at risk in the first place, right? This is what we call asymmetry, which means unequal outcomes. You're only risking a limited amount on the downside, but if you live a long life, the upside can be exponentially larger. And now, think about who this matters most to, right? The strategy creates the greatest benefit for people who live the longest. And living a long time is exactly the situation most retirees are worried about, running out of money in their 80s and 90s. Now let's talk about what makes this strategy truly beneficial. We call it a triple hedge. There are 3 big risks that keep retirees up at night. Number 1 is longevity risk. This is the worry that you'll outlive your money, and it's more common than you might think. For example, if you're a 65-year-old couple today, there's about a 50% chance that at least one of you will live past 90. Number 2 is inflation risk. Prices rising faster than your income can keep up with. If inflation runs hot for a decade or more, fixed income sources just get quietly destroyed, right? Number 3 is poor investment returns. A bad sequence of returns early in retirement, a major market crash at the wrong time, can permanently damage a portfolio that never fully recovers. There are financial strategies that can help hedge against 1 or 2 of these, but what's remarkable about delaying Social Security is it hedges against all 3 risks simultaneously. So let's break down exactly how delaying Social Security helps protect you in these 3 scenarios. First is longevity. Like we talked about earlier, the longer you live, the more you gain from waiting. The extra monthly benefit just keeps stacking up. So it is a direct hedge against the risk of outliving your money. Second is inflation. Since Social Security payments go up every year, with inflation, thanks to the COLA, higher inflation actually works in your favor if you're delayed. Research shows that if inflation goes up from 3% to 4% and investment returns are just a bit lower, the break-even period drops from 20 years to only 15, and your long-term dollar benefit nearly doubles. And third, poor investment returns. If your investment portfolio doesn't perform well, say it returns 6% instead of 8%, the break-even period for delaying Social Security also gets shorter. That's because the money you skipped out on collecting isn't compounding as much in your investment account. So in a rough market, your bigger Social Security check is actually even more valuable. The bottom line, in the 3 situations that are most challenging for retirees, a long life, high inflation, or a struggling market, waiting to claim Social Security actually becomes more valuable, not less. It's one of those rare financial moves that gets stronger exactly when you need it most. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Let me address the 3 most common objections. What if I die early and never break even? That's a real concern, and honestly, no strategy can erase that risk. But here's a way to look at it. By delaying, you're taking a known, limited risk, for example, missing out on $12,000. In return, you could gain $48,000 or more if you live a long life. That's a big difference. If you already know your health isn't great or your life expectancy is much shorter, claiming early can make sense. But for folks in average or good health, the math generally points towards waiting. Now, in my simple example, I used a PIA of $1,000 and delaying just 1 year to teach the concept. But if your PIA is larger and you delay longer, of course, these numbers will all be much larger as well. What if Social Security goes broke? I hear this one all the time, and the fear is understandable. But even in the worst case scenario, the likely outcome is a benefit reduction of 20%, not benefits disappearing entirely. And if cuts do happen, having a larger benefit because you delayed actually puts you in a better spot than having a smaller check that also gets cut. I need the money now. I just can't afford to wait. Now, this one's important. If you truly need the income to cover your expenses, claiming now may be your best option, and that's okay. But if you have other resources, a bit of savings, a spouse who can claim, or even part-time work, using those to delay Social Security for even a year or two can make a big difference in the long run. Of course, delaying isn't the best choice for everyone. There are other good reasons when claiming at 62 is the better choice. Your health, your overall financial situation, and any other sources of income that you have all play an important role. But for the majority of retirees, especially those who are healthy and come from families who tend to live long lives, the evidence is pretty clear. Waiting can really pay off. If this video got you thinking, I encourage you to learn more by checking out this video right here. It's a full 1-hour deep dive into Social Security and retirement income planning. It's actually a recording of a live webinar that we hosted recently, and it's packed with even more insights and real-world examples. So I look forward to seeing you there.